4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Without further ado, he's one of the most prominent activists leading this country. He's the man who's not afraid to speak up for the voiceless and stand firm on his beliefs. He's the soul reacher, the liberation seeker, and is a true teacher. He's the president and founder of the National Action Network and has devoted his life to helping our people. He's none other than the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice,
no peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
Hug the person next to you, tell them you love them. National Action Network Choir, give them a hand. The Change Choir. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning at the Saturday Action Rally of the National Action Network. For you that are here at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem, and for you that are listening live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider this morning, Minister Kirsten John Ford, who's our Northeast Regional Director, who is hosting in the absence of Michael Hardy, who's on travel this weekend. Let me begin by first thanking all of you that came out on Thursday to help serve our seniors and our homeless, hundreds of them. I think we had more this year than any year. And we've been doing it. Nan will be 25 years old next year, and I think this has been more this year, and stayed all day. And I want to thank all of you that came out and spent all day or part of the day helping to serve here on Thanksgiving Day. Give yourselves a big hand. We do not believe in celebrating what happened to the Native Americans, but we take it as a day to have our families come together and commune together, and that's what we did. I want to thank all of you that did so. I also want to thank all of you that gave your prayers and condolences to my daughters and to Kathy on passing of her mother, who was funeralized this week. I did the eulogy, And I think, I said at the funeral, people cannot be together and still be family. And I was there because her mother, despite it all, was a mother to me, and I was there because of Kathy. We ain't broke up years ago, but she's been my friend and has been largely responsible for it wouldn't have been a success in Al Sharpton without her loyalty and her sacrifice. Some of y'all don't know how to be decent, whether y'all together or separated. So don't, and I said that at the funeral, I say stuff because I want folk to know, first of all, you need to be straight out. When we decided to do what we did, we put on the front page. So ain't no hiding nothing. Y'all be running around whispering about something everybody done read on the front page. Second of all, whatever you do in decency.
Amen.
And nothing check Kathy here every week. He still works women's thing. In fact, she usually gets here at about 10. About the time I speak, she's part of the I show up when Rev speak crowd. But I thank y'all. Alice Jordan was a true friend, a true matriarch, a true community leader. You couldn't get near the church at Niagara Falls, and I was honored to do the eulogy. Now I got a couple of announcements. Old folk, take out your pen. The young folk, take out your iPad. And let me get this down. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock sharp, Politics Nation will be back on live. I'm doing the show live on MSNBC. And we're going to have a lot we're going to talk about, but we'll be on live 8 to 9. Then at 9 o'clock, I go right in the studio live on the radio show that goes all over the country at FMs. In New York, it's WBLS on Sunday morning with Al Sharpton. So from 8 to 9 on the TV show, 9 to 10 on radio on WBLS in the morning. Now, there's a lot we're going to talk about. One of the things that I want to talk about is this Tuesday, Spike Lee is premiering his movie, Chirac. Now, let me tell you what the movie's about. It's about violence in Chicago. Now, many of you know that there's been hundreds of shootings, including the last killing of this 9-year-old boy who they arrested the killer on yesterday, 2 of them, and others. It was so bad year before last, I took an apartment in Chicago, go out there once a month and stay in an apartment on the west side to help work with the gangs and try to deal with bringing some kind of nonviolence and peace there. Now let me tell you, some of the people in Chicago, political structure, got angry with Spike for doing a movie about this. The same political leaders that had policemen there and the tape for 13 months and didn't do nothing about the cop. They're going to reprimand Spike while they let the cops stay on the force. Hello. I want y'all to get this good now. You all the press and listen, man. I want y'all to get this real good. To accept violence between each other in our community is the ultimate racist supremacist position. Is to say, well, they're just animals and that's just normal how they act. What Spike is doing is reaffirming the value of our lives. If you can be concerned about the killing in Iraq, you ought to be concerned about the killing in Chicago. That's what the movie's about. Well, he shouldn't say Chirac cause of what? Because you want to protest one killing and act like the other killing is normal because we don't know no better. So Tuesday he's premiering it in New York. I told Spike that we gonna support it. Let me tell you what Spike gonna do that's different. Usually when they have premieres, they have an after party. They go to the premiere, then the after party. You know, Phoenix be going to the after parties eating, so Spike said, if y'all are supporting us, Reverend, I'm not gonna have an after party. Let's march against violence after I show the film. So he's gonna have all of the stars and he himself, and we're gonna march from the Ziegfeld Theater. I want you to write this down. Meet me and Spike at the Ziegfeld Theater, 7 o'clock. That's on 54th Street between 6th and 7th. And we're going to, at the end of his film, walk down to Duffy Square, which is right there in the Times Square area, where we're going to stand up against violence. That's Tuesday night. That's the day after Monday. Monday, the day after tomorrow. That's December 1st. Is that right? Now, ironically, December 1st, the day that Spike will premiere this in New York, and all of us going to be there, is also the anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott. That's right. Am I right? Right. So on the day that Rosa Parks refused to sit down, refused to get up and sit down in the back of the bus, we're going to refuse to accept violence as normal in our community. Give a big hand to Spike. And we're going to try to have Spike on. I think he's going to be on this TV show in the morning with us, and Martin Luther King III is going to be on, talking about the anniversary of the Montgomery boycott. Now, the other thing I want y'all to get ready for, December 9th. Everybody say December 9th. December 9th. You got out your iPad, Dominic? You got out your pen? I won't call her by name because I didn't take the offering yet. I don't know about that. There is a hearing on December 9th in Washington on the Fisher case. The Fisher case is about affirmative action. When the Supreme Court reviewed affirmative action the last time, they ruled that race can be a factor, but it is not the determining factor for going to school or higher education. As they ruled on schools, it also applies to employment and positions in companies, on and on and on. Now they're having a hearing on whether you can consider race at all. First they said, well, you can consider race, but it's not the determining factor. So they say your qualifications, your residence, your race, whatever. Now, this hearing is to say you can't even consider race. The danger of that is that when you therefore go and ask the city or the state or corporations how many blacks or Latinos you have, they don't have to give you the data because it will be then unconstitutional to even ask. Which means they can get away with hiring nobody. They get away with nobody going to colleges. Because they would say we don't have the data because they can't ask. We can't force the issue because it becomes unconstitutional. It will, in fact, in the affirmative action as we know it. I keep telling you, activism is not one-dimensional. You've got to deal with all levels of activism. A constitutional question by this Supreme Court, all of us need to be there when they argued at that day. A lot of y'all are working at jobs now because they had to have diversity in your job set. If they no longer have to have diversity, you will no longer have to have a job as far as they're concerned. Now, some conservative Negroes, that's why we've been doing this 24 years, every Saturday morning on the air, trying to get y'all clear. Some conservative folk, well, I know I was hired because I was qualified. No, there were black folk qualified before you. They just couldn't get a job. Rosa Parks was qualified to ride in front of the bus before that, December 1st, 55. Movements make them consider your qualifications. I always tell that story of the man that said to me that he went to the right schools and all of that. And I told him civil rights didn't write your resume, but civil rights make somebody read your resume. You may have went to the right schools and was in a member of the right, you were a member of the right fraternity, right sorority. But don't ever forget some uneducated grandmas who wasn't a member of no fraternity laid down in the streets in Birmingham and Selma and made it possible for you to go to the schools you went to. That's right. So, I want December 9th, we're going to have buses leaving here from all over the Northeast. If you can go with us to Washington December 9th for the hearing at the Supreme Court, call 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Or sign up here at the counter at the end of the rally this morning. And I want everybody to go with us December 9th. Then on Dr. King's birthday, every year we do the forum here. We're going to end the forum next year, January 18th. We're going to have all the people speak, officials. But then we're going to have a march from here to Adam Clayton Powell Square for the $15 an hour minimum wage. Martin Luther King died fighting about economic issues and about dealing with economic issues. When we talking about the question of homelessness and income inequality and all of that we are faced with. I heard our district leader talking this morning about rezoning and all. There's the whole argument about affordable housing versus gentrification. Yes. All of that were the issues Dr. King was fighting for. One of the things that I was proud to hear Minister Ford and a lot of our young leaders in NAN deal with is that young activists can't act like the movement started when they was born. One of the most ignorant things in the world that I've seen and studied before my time is acting like the world was waiting on you to be born. There was an old saying, nothing new under the sun. Dr. King was dealing with these issues 50 years ago. I grew up in the King movement. I'm too young to know Dr. King well, but I certainly knew his wife well. I was raised by his lieutenants, first chairman of the board of this organization was Y.T. Walker, who was his executive director. The issues they fought is in the same areas that we fight now. So I grew up studying everything Dr. King said and was trained by those that helped him do it. If you read Dr. King's last book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, he talks about police brutality in that book. He talks about economic disparities in that book. So a lot of us that want to act like we got a new thing, well, everybody always, we thought we did a new thing. There ain't nothing new. Every generation makes its own identity and tries to act like something new. I was raised by Reverend Jones and Reverend Jesse Jackson in the movement, and I was telling them they was old. They got something new. Then I get older, now I'm old, and a minute Kirsten and them old. That's part of what life is. That's why you go from teenager to being grown, grown to being daddy, daddy to being granddaddy. That's what life is. Which is why you don't get caught up on where you are in the circle of life. You get caught up on making your circle mean something. Amen. I tell our young folk here and there, don't act like being young is an achievement. You didn't decide when you was going to be born. You didn't achieve youthfulness. Now it takes effort to get old. But to be young, all you got to do is pop out when the doctors say come on. It's what you do with your youth. And what you do with your age. Everybody old ain't wise. Talk about listening to the gray hair. No, some gray hairs you don't need to listen to. But some folks just got old and ignorant because they were young and ignorant. So I want us to deal with the lessons of the movement. Let me say this. Give a hand to my brother and sister-in-laws here this morning. Sonny Thomas Glasgow. And his wife Brenda. I was glad he's here when I'm talking about this age thing because he's much older than me. That's my oldest brother. And let me say, in talking about this lesson stuff, if we are to deal with this Tuesday, the anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott, I hear a lot of people that do not come out of the King tradition, that just use it and don't really understand it. I am out of that tradition. So I not only studied it, we were indoctrinated in it. There is a reason the Montgomery bus boycott worked. And there's a reason why rhetorical boycotts that just refer to it don't work. Boycotts, marches, rallies, agitating must be strategic and scientific, or it will not be effective. There is a difference between activism and exhibitionism. When Rosa Parks sat down at the front of the bus, first of all, she was not the first one to sit down. There had been another lady that had sat down and refused to move and had been arrested. They did not rally around her because they said her would not stand the scrutiny. She'd been arrested. She had children. She wasn't light-skinned. This is the fact now. Y'all ran past this.
Tell the truth.
But she's still alive. And she stood up there like Rosa Parks did.
Yes, she did.
One of the signs of progress in the movement is that we come out that tradition, but I don't care what your background is. If you're a victim, we're going to fight for it. And some victims stay in the movement, some don't. Eric Gardner's widow is here this morning, and she here every Saturday morning. Eric Gardner's mother's here every Saturday morning. They were here day before yesterday feeding the homeless all day long. And it's a sad day for them because it's a day that Eric used to be at the table. We from a lot of folk. Once we finish fighting for them, we don't hear from them no more. But we're not fighting for them, we fighting for us.
That's right.
So the fact that this lady was not the symbol based on her pedigree and her background was at that time accepted.
Right.
When Rosa Parks, who was a member of the NAACP,
That's right.
who they all knew and respected, refused to give up her seat. Now, first of all, you're going to understand what happened on the bus. Rosa did not go sit down in the front seat. A lot of y'all don't even understand what happened. Rosa Parks got on the bus, sat down toward the front. But the law was at that time that if a white got on the bus and the front was full, you had to then move to the back and give him the seat.
Right.
What Rosa Parks did was refuse to give up her seat. She was sitting where blacks could sit if there was no one there. But when the white got on and wanted that seat, she refused to give up her seat.
White man.
Because a lot of y'all done we did Rosa like she jumped up on the bus, sat on the front row and threw up her fist. That is not what happened. Now, I didn't know Rosa Parks. I spoke at a funeral. Now, when Rosa Parks was arrested, they called around the community and organized a mass meeting that night at First Baptist Church. Everybody in Montgomery knew Rosa Parks because of her involvement in NAACP, because she was a member of the AME Church, and she was known and active in the community. So what heightened the alarm was they arrested somebody that had the respect of the community. Rosa Parks said, I want y'all to get this in the barbershop. Rosa Parks said that when the police came on the bus and told her to move to give up her seat, she said the thing that kept coming in my mind was Emmett Till.
Right.
Emmett Till was the young boy killed in Mississippi for so-called whistling at a white woman. Now, I want to give you the chronology. Emmett Till had just been killed that summer.
That's right. That's right.
Rosa Parks responded December 1st.
That's right.
Just like what we did with Eric Gardner. Woke up a lot of people around the country. Then Ferguson happened. I want you to watch this now, because a lot of y'all be running past stuff, running your mouth, and don't think about things. What made cameras on police a national issue was Eric Gardner's case. Why do you say that, Sharpton? Because when the country saw the video of Eric being choked to death, could get out there that we need cameras on police so we could see video all the time.
That's right.
Don't get that. Eric Garner happened 3 weeks before we got to Ferguson. Before Ferguson ever happened. The reason we asked for tape in Ferguson is because of Eric Garner. Rosa Parks sat on the bus and thought about Emmett Till. And said, because of what they did to that boy, I refuse to give up my seat.
The white man. Right?
Things energize and encourage things. Anybody don't want to be connected to what happened before them is either ignorant or an agent or both. There's a direct link from Emmett Till into Rosa Parks.
That's right.
Now, then you go into the meeting that night, last meeting, First Baptist Church. Pastor of the church was a man named Reverend Ralph Abernathy. They met at the church and said, we can't take this no more. Head of the NAACP was a man named Ed Nixon. Ed Nixon and them said, we need to boycott and take a day where we're not going to ride the buses. Why not ride the buses? Because if we break them for one day and hit them in the pocket, they will understand that we pay the same fare as everybody else on the bus. Therefore, we have the right to sit where everybody else does. It was never about trying to sit with white folk. It was about saying, if I pay the same fare, I'm going to have the same right. A lot of you that attack that movement saying all they want to integrate, this was never about sitting on a toilet with somebody. It was about, if we're going to pay tax, we're going to have the same right as everybody else. So either you don't pay the tax and boycott it, or you get the same thing. Either you don't pay the fare. White supremacists, posing as liberals, tried to act like the movement was about being close to them. The movement was about our own integrity. Now, they called a meeting, decided that they were going to do a day boycott. They said we need to form an organization because the one-day boycott was successful. They formed the Montgomery Improvement Association. There was some saying, we don't need to do that. Let's go with NAACP. Let's go with CORE. Let's go with the AME Church. She was a member of the AME Church. Let's go with the Baptists. They said, why don't we have a coalition where everybody could be under one umbrella? Why? Because they had enough scientific and realistic sense to know you can't have a broad boycott if you only got one segment involved. That's why I say take scientific organizing. If the AME led it, the Baptists would have said, well, we ain't in the boycott. If the Baptists led it, the Holiness would have said, we ain't in it. If the NAACP led it, the people in CORE wouldn't have been in it. So they formed a new group and said, everybody's in. You that believe this way, that way, whatever. Because the boycott can't work unless everybody feels that they are going to be a part of it. Anybody leading a movement that wants to exclude people either don't know what they're doing or working for the other side. Well, we don't need Muslims. Well, if you boycott, you need Muslims not to shop too. Or we don't need to hold the rollers. Well, If you try to hurt folk in the pocketbook, you need holy rollers not to shop too. We don't need the old heads. Well, if the old heads are shopping, you ain't got no boycott. And you might need some old heads to talk to old heads. So when I listen to folks' rhetoric, they need to study that Montgomery boycott. They brought everybody in. In the meeting. Reverend Abernathy, the pastor of First Baptist, said, why don't we ask the new guy in town that nobody got nothing against because he just got here.
That's right.
To be the president, because if we get any of the other leaders, we all know each other and they got enemies and got jealousies. And that's how Martin Luther King became the head. He had just got to town a few months before.
Right.
That's the history. Then they decided to have carpools. Because a lot of us hear the slogan, walk with dignity, rather than ride shame. But that didn't mean they didn't try to ride where they could each other in their car. Which meant people were riding people that were not their family. Scientific organizing. Anybody that moves without preparation is not moving anything. If you move without preparing, you're preparing to fail. People ask me, why NAN is so careful when y'all organize stuff? Get buses, take a couple of weeks, make sure you got security. Because NAN stands with families. And I'm not going to bring them out there embarrassing them, doing some ad hoc, ad lib, rookie stuff, experimenting in the name of their family members. Now y'all run out there, ain't representing nothing, can run out there and do what you want, do street down the block, show your butt down on Times Square, it don't matter. But when we do something, it will reflect on the victim. And you don't have the right to take people's names and do whatever you want with it. Hello. That's why we got 3 offices in New York. One here, one down in corporate, and one in Staten Island. That's why folk know where to reach us. I ain't remember nothing, I don't know where it is. I got the so-and-so coalition. Where you at? They don't believe in that. Well, I don't believe in that. I can't reach you, then what am I following you for? You know, I was growing up, my sister and I used to watch TV, and I used to like certain shows, she liked other shows. One show I never liked was Casper the Friendly Ghost. I never liked ghosts. I like stuff I can put my arm around. Y'all run around with a lot of ghost stuff going on. Got something the other day. Man, we with the so-and-so people's group. Okay, where that at? No, we ain't into all that. We ain't into all what? We don't have a location or leadership. Okay, fine. You got it. What do you mean? That's what we believe. I'm not arguing with you, but I don't believe it. I like work with folk I can reach, that I know who they are. If you got another way, fine. Well, that's the new way. No, that ain't the new way. They've been talking about that since I was a little boy. Ain't nothing new about that. Everything you saying been said before. And I didn't agree with it then. I don't agree with it now. Don't act like you got something new. I'm just the same old guy that told you when I was a young guy. I don't believe in that. Yellow. Just like I told the guy the other day down at NBC. Said, Reverend Al, do you really believe that Christ could rise from the grave? Yeah, I do. Well, I don't believe that. Well, good. So you go to your church and I go to mine. Well, I don't go to church, I go to something else and I believe that. Well, there's something in what you believe I don't believe. not what I believe. I believe in Dr. King. I believe in nonviolence. I apologize for that. You don't like that? Good. But one thing you ain't gonna get me is telling you something you want to hear that I don't believe. That's why I don't sleep for 4 or 5 hours a night, but I snore and sleep them with utter peace, because I am comfortable with myself. And I wake up every morning, thank God for another day, and hug myself. And hug myself because I'm comfortable with myself. And first thing I do after I pray and thank God for another day is hug myself. I'm so glad to be Al Sharpton, I don't know what to do. I look in the mirror and make sure I ain't switched to something else. Which means I don't care who don't like me, I'm so happy. Through all the flaws and the setdown, great God Almighty, I'm Al Sharpton another day. And you ought to be glad to be who you are.
Amen, brother.
My man.
That's right.
Thank you, Lord.
Bring me right into my message. I'm going to let y'all go. Many of us have a compelled feeling. We feel we've been compelled, I'll put it that way, to do things that we never take the next step to do. I was talking to some young folk Thanksgiving night, and I told them that if you study the whole Bible and other things in history, the greatest people were always the people that felt they were not worthy and had to be convinced that greatness is hidden in those that think they're not qualified. I said, now when you go home, get the book of Judges, Kirsten, and read the story of Gideon.
Yes. All right.
Gideon was a Midianite.
Yeah.
He was working under the wine press and working in what was the tradition of his tribe. One day the angel came to Gideon and told him that God had chosen him to lead his people. I want y'all to go through this real slow now. And when he was chosen to lead the people, Gideon didn't embrace that right away. A lot of us, our ambition outrun our humility. A lot of us just want to be seen.
All right.
And not want to be used in a way that we were born to serve. Everybody got
That's right.
certain qualities and abilities and gifts. You need to first find out your gift and your calling and then try to move forward. To be seen when you're not ready is like taking out, y'all just got through Thanksgiving dinner, it's like taking out the turkey before it's done. You put it in the middle of the table, but ain't nobody going to eat it because it's not done. A lot of y'all are seen before you done. So that's one of the advantages of having good mentors and good role models.
Yes.
Is a good mentor is not going to put you up to speak until you have something to say. Well, now, give me a chance. First of all, I'm going to give you a book. No, I want to be out there. No, you ain't ready. And I would hurt you more than know you ain't ready. Put me on television. I'm trying to not tell nobody you ain't ready. It's like a baby.
That's right.
Baby don't know.
That's right.
That's why baby is raised. So baby got on the diaper, baby go to run outside. You got to stop the baby run outside. The baby don't know the difference between clothes and the diaper. And that's what's wrong with some of y'all preaching. And y'all running around with the diaper out. And just hollering and screaming. And everybody looking at you, and you think you got fans. Folk wondering why that baby out there in that diaper. And why ain't somebody grabbed it and washed his behind and put some clothes on. Running out before you ready. I've sat under Bishop Washington for years. Learning, after I was called to preach, how to preach, what to say, what the scripture was. I learned how. I started as a boy preacher. I learned how to say, "Lord Jesus, what, Lord my shepherd." That's cute when I was 4 and 5. But when I started getting older, you had to start dealing with the meaning of a scripture. Bishop Washington made me read. Then when I joined Breadbasket, nobody was hard on me than Bill Jones or Jesse Jackson. Made me study. I've been in this a long time. They were not hard on me to keep me down. They were hard on me so when I rose up, I could stay up. Gideon said, "You can't be talking about me because I am a Midianite." And watch this now. And he said, "And I'm even the lowest in my own house. Not only am I a member of a minority, I am the reject of the minority. Not only am I a member of a family with no money, I'm the lowest one in the family. You couldn't be talking about me." Angel said, "No, he wants you." Then Gideon, this is my message. Then Gideon said, "I tell you what," since he argued back and forth, he said, "I want to make sure this is God. I'm going to lay out a fleece. And I'm going to lay it there and go and lay down. When I wake up in the morning, I want to see the fleece wet and the ground around it dry. Because only God could make a fleece wet and keep the ground surrounding the fleece dry." He went to bed, woke up, fleece wet, ground dry. Still wasn't done. He come back again and said, "All right, just let me double check. Now I want to lay down the fleece and wake up and the fleece be dry and the ground be wet." Went to sleep that night, woke up, ground wet, fleece dry. And he knew then that only God could control the morning dew. My question to you this Thanksgiving weekend is, what does God have to do to show you that he's chosen you to do what you was born to do? You done been through stuff that you shouldn't have got through.
Amen.
He made ways that you never thought that he would give you. He's elevated you despite you. You done some terrible stuff and he forgave you anyhow. Some of y'all sitting here this morning know you should have been somewhere else like jail or the nut house, but somehow God made what does God got to do to convince you that he's with you? Therefore, you ought to stand up and do what he told you to do. Sitting around having pity parties rather than joy parties. I talked to my sister Joy on Thanksgiving morning. We talked about how Daddy left when we were young and what we went through and all the shame and the snickering and kids in church laughing at us. And how we were ridiculed and how we were hurt and how we felt abandoned. I said, but Joy, that's not the end of the story.
That's right.
The end of the story is that we got through it. God brought us through it for sure. He could bring us through it. Quit feeling sorry for yourself and celebrate no matter how much they talk. God elevated us anyhow. That's why I know what I know, because God showed me no weapon formed against me shall prosper. What does God got to do to show you that he's on your side? I'll tell you this last point, we're going for real. When Gideon accepted his role, Esau, and started ready to go to battle, I want y'all to watch this, young folk. He went and got ready to roll into his arm. And God said, wait a minute, what you doing? He said, what do you mean what I'm doing? He said, I got thousands ready to go. He said, you got 2 minutes. He said, what do you mean I had 2 minutes? He said, take all your men and go down to the river and tell them to get down on their knees and take water. And the ones that lack water, like a dog, those are the ones I want you to keep. The rest send back. So Gideon obedient now he done been convinced with all this trying God that God chose him. And he brought him down, and all of the bourgeois, proper soldiers, they got down with their pinky up in the etiquette. He sent back. All of these showboat soldiers that was waiting on New York 1 to show up to photograph them going down in the water, he sent back. All of them that wanted to pose, these Instagram soldiers that only want to show the uniform but never in the back, he sent back. But those that didn't care how they looked, didn't care who was watching, but went down and lapped water like a dog, those are the ones that he kept. God said, that's the ones. I need the ones that don't care how they look, don't care who's watching them, don't care who's shaming them, don't care about being embarrassed. I need soldiers that'll fight the fight. Reason you can't get nowhere is you got too many folk with you. You got to be willing to go with the tried and the tested. But talk about how many folk who you got at your rally. I got enough to turn the world upside down. Your problem is you got too many. I got the dog lappers. I got the freedom fighters. I got the ones that God is on our side. I don't need the crowd. I need those that ain't got nothing God got to prove. If God before you, it's more than the whole world against you. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is your day. This is your time. We will prevail. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing it. Everybody everybody here today that hears us on the radio, catches some of our work on television, but never became a member of the National Action Network. If you're here today and want to be an active member and be part of this organization, I want you to come down to either side and shake my hand and let me sign you up today to be a member of National Action Network. Just come on down. Don't worry about who's watching. Just come on. If you're not a member and want to join this morning, come on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Yeah. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. Got to have justice. We want justice. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. All right, gonna raise our offering. Let's come quickly.